Hey guys, how's it going? This is Professor Shuckle here, your coach of the Dark Cave Darkrise. Today we'll be going over a Week 4 battle versus Ishan and the LA Charizard. We picked up a win last week to go 2-1 in the season, and we're looking to get another win so that we have a bit of breathing space between the cutoffs for playoffs. We don't want to be like within that tight race for playoffs. We want to be like ahead and top and like get a good seeding. So we want to push for another win and go 3-1 for the season. And another win would also put our differential to positive. So yeah, without much further ado, let's get into the matchup. Our opponents for this week have a roster of Deoxyspeed, Mega Beedrill, Dracloak, Arcanine, Rotom Fan, Klefki, Tapu Bulu, Lapras, Alolan Muk, Conkeldurr, and Dusknoir. As you can see right away, this is not the best matchup for my Sand core of Tyranitar and Excadrill, just because there's a Rotom Fan for the Excadrill and a Conkeldurr with just hard stops like Excadrill, Tyranitar. Also, they picked up Rotom Fan and Tapu Bulu for the week, which further made our Sand matchup worse, which was really unfortunate. So yeah, Conkeldurr is a 100% brain. I anticipate a Flame Orb gut set with like knockoff, Drain Punch, Mach Punch, and Facade, which like I don't really have a switch for that set at all. It could also be AV as a lure for Pidgeot or Latios, but I think the Flame Orb gut set is just so strong here. I expect the Deoxyspeed to come. To be honest, I'm not really sure what it does because it's an Ubers Pokemon, which is allowed here. And in Ubers, it usually just sets hazards and like stops the opposing team from setting hazards and just dies. But here, I guess it can run like Nasty Plot, Modest. Like I'm not really sure. I just know Florges kind of hard walls it, so it's not too much of a threat. But I could see it coming because it's a nice speed tier. Mega Beedrill I expect to come as well. It's faster than all my Mons outside of Sand. U-Turn is pretty strong with Stab and Adaptability. Knockoff is pretty good as well. Don't really expect Arcanine to come just because I have Sand and Wishy-Washy. And I've shown that I'm not afraid to bring Wishy-Washy even though it's like a low tier Mon. Rotom Fan I 100% expect to come. It should be their dedicated switch into Excadrill as it's immune to Earthquake and resist Iron Head. And like it could be Boots so that it doesn't even take rocks damage. Could be Wisp to stop Excadrill. Volt Switch for Momentum. Can also kind of check Pidgeot, but cannot repeatedly switch in as it'll get worn down pretty fast. Klefki could come. It sets screens and hazards. T-Wave things. Kind of annoying. Tapu Bulu will probably come to set up terrain and weaken Earthquake for Excadrill. I also don't really switch very well into this Mon, as I got Player Off now with DLC. Alolan Muk is again a pretty good like sponge and pivot. Can check Lati and Pidgeot. A Recycle with like the Super Berry and Gluttony and 3 attacks seems pretty strong here. Like the only Mon threatening it are like the physical attackers, so a knockoff Poison Jab and like Brick Break could be pretty strong versus my team. I guess it could also be AV with Poison Touch if they wanted to text Shadow Sneak on there. Conkeldurr is 100% coming. So the 6 I expect to come are Deoxyspeed, Mega Beedrill, Rotom Fan, Tapu Bulu, Alolan Muk, and Conkeldurr. I could see Dusknoir or Lapras or Klefki coming, like over maybe Deoxyspeed or something. I don't really expect Dracloak or Arcanine to come. But with that, let's see the team I have for this week. So starting off, I have Excadrill. It's not the regular Excadrill in the sense that it's not Sand Rush and it's not a sweeping set. So I'm running Leftovers and a very bulky set with enough speed to outspeed Rotom Fan by 1 point. I'm running Substitute Toxic Protect Drill Run. It's the hated sub-toxic tech set. So Excadrill forces switches, like he should switch into Rotom Fan or like Klefki or Tapu Bulu or something on EXCADRILL, so I can sub pretty safely, and then I can sit behind the sub and toxic things and wear them down slowly. This also helps me like get chip on the Conkeldurr without having to take like a Mach Punch or like having to switch out. Drill Run is just like pretty good stab. Drill Run also ignores the effects of grassy terrain, like it's not weakened by grassy terrain, and has a high crit ratio. I was initially Iron Head, but I changed it to Drill Run just because I didn't have a lot of coverage for Alolan Muck on my team, so I went with Drill Run. This was kind of an oversight in prep, but EXCADRILL now gets high horsepower in Gen 8, so I should have actually run that over Drill Run, but doesn't matter too much because the main job of this is Sub-Toxic Protect and be annoying and get the chip on things I need for like mons later that I'll be going over. Next up, we have Vikavolt with Rocky Helmet. It's physically defensive, and it has Roost, Bug Buzz, Volt Switch, and Sticky Web. Roost is just for longevity. Bug Buzz is pretty decent stab, like it OHKOs Deoxys Speed, does decent damage to Bulu. Does like is neutral versus Alolan Muck. Volt Switch is just for momentum. And Sticky Webs is just to slow down his faster threats of Mega Beedrill and Deoxys Speed, which is pretty nice, and like force a defog. Next up, we have Florges with the Kibia Berry. Kibia Berry is the lure for Mega Beedrill. Again, this is also physically defensive. This will probably be our switch into Conkeldurr, or like along with Vikavolt, like in between them, I should be able to kind of soft check Conkeldurr. This is physically defensive to eat hits. This also serves as a check for Deoxys Speed, I believe, just because it's so naturally specially defensive. Moonblast is just pretty decent stab in general. His only resist is the Mega Beedrill and the Arcanine. Defog, just in case he brings hazard stacking Deoxys. Synthesis for recovery, as I'm not bringing Sand this week, I don't need Wish Protect. And Psychic actually kills Mega Beedrill, so if I can get rid of that, it frees up my Latios and Mega Pidgeot, which is nice. Next up, we have Mega Pidgeot finally coming again. This is a pretty, it's fast because Mega Pidgeot can only, his fastest mon outside of Mega Beedrill and Deoxys Speed is like Arcanine. I can actually run Modest Pidgeot this week, which is really nice, so this is outspeeding Arcanine by 1 point. I just ignored Dracula because I don't think it's gonna come. It has semi-bulk, which is really nice, in 180 special attack with running the Hurricane, Heatwave, U-Turn, and Roost. I didn't need max special attack Modest just because of how hard Pidgeot hits. Hurricane is pretty good stab versus his entire team, and the only resists are like Rotom Fan and Klefki, both of which are hit pretty hard by Heatwave. U-Turn is just to switch out on Rotom Fan if it comes in and if I know it's not Scarf. And Roost is just for longevity, which is pretty nice. Next up, we have Wishiwashi again. The same exact set as last time, physically defensive Rocky Helmet with Restock and Scald Ice Beam. I didn't run U-Turn this week just because I wanted the option to hit Tapu Bulu on the switch with Ice Beam. This should be our switch in for like Arcanine, soft check for Mega Beedrill, can check Alolan Muck, and maybe again get in on Conk and get the Rocky Helmet chip that we need. Finally, we have our speed control for the week in Latios, which is running the Choice Scarf again. Again, I'm running outspeeding Arcanine by 1 point. So it's Modest, Max Pressure Attack, Side Shock, Dragon Pulse, Ice Beam, Mystical Fire. Stab is just pretty nice. Ice Beam is for like the Bulu, the Rotom Fan. And Side Shock is for like Conkeldurr. Dragon Pulse is again nice stab. Mystical Fire is just a way to hit Klefki, and it also helps with Deoxys Speed, which wants to Nasty Plot and stuff. So yeah, that's the team for the week, and let's see how the battle goes. As you can see, they bring a team of Tapu Bulu, Deoxys, Mega Beedrill, Conkeldurr, Alolan Muck, and Rotom Fan. Pretty much the 6 I expected. As far as leads go, I thought my best lead would be Vikavolt, like expecting a lead of Deoxys Speed or Mega Beedrill on their end, or like even Bulu, and it matched up pretty well versus all of them. And it could get up Sticky Webs, or like Volt Switch or Bug Buzz, depending on what came out. So yeah, I decided to lead with Vikavolt. I just thought it was my best lead, and I don't think I died in one hit from anything. Like Bulu, I guess Bulu needed to be like Choice Banded with Stone Edge, and like if it goes for that and kills me, like that's pretty good knowledge to have. So yeah, I decided to lead with Vikavolt. Let me just switch sides so we see it from our perspective. So I lead off with Vikavolt, they lead off with Beedrill, which is fine. I feel like they would go for a U-turn here, so I just decide to get up my webs this turn, as they do go for a U-turn and actually crit us, which is really unfortunate. So this would have done like 40%, and still like kept us out of range of like any hit from like the rest of the month, barring like Stone Edge Bulu. Yeah, so that's kind of unfortunate. They do get the Rocky Helmet chip, but yeah, they go into Rotom Fan. I don't really want to go hard Excadrill or like Florges on this in case they go for a Volt Switch, so and like get momentum back. And if anything, I decide like if they go for a Defog, I can get my Roost off and then set up the webs again, because I'm not really threatened by this unless they go for like a Nasty Plot. So I just try and decide to go for Roost, but they go for Air Slash and kill me, which is fine. I go Excadrill here, because if this is Scarf, they're locked into Air Slash and like have to switch, and like that could give me a free SD. So, and if they're not Scarf, I can sub, and they would probably try to go for a Wisp. So I thought sub was just my safest play, and it covered like anything switching in. As I sub, and they do go for a Wisp, which is really nice, and now I can start my sub-toxic shenanigans, as I just click Toxic and expecting like them to switch, but they just stay into Defog, which is fair, I guess, because Excadrill can't really kill this. But now that I'm Toxic, and its last move is probably gonna be Volt Switch, I know they can't break my sub, and they probably don't want to stay in and keep taking toxic damage, because they probably want to preserve this for checking the bird. So I expect like a Conk to hard come in, or like maybe Deoxys or Bulu. So I just click Toxic again, as they do go Conkeldurr, which is really nice because Flame Orb, if they got burned, it would only do 6% damage every turn. But now with Toxic, it's going to rack up and double like every turn, which is really nice, and like wear this thing down even like quicker. So yeah, now I can click Protect and make them like take like toxic damage and keep multiplying, which is really nice. Now I can click Drill Run as I'm behind the sub and do 32% damage, which is pretty good. They go for a Drain Punch and don't really get much back because they only do like the sub damage, so which is nice. Here I can click Protect again to get more Toxic Chip as they try to go for a Mach Punch, which I guess would kill with Guts boosted. I don't really calculate, but I like assumed it would. Here I just go Florges. If they go for Drain Punch, I don't think they would get enough back where they would live the toxic damage. And like if they went for Knock, that would have been a pretty good play on their end. But they just go for Mach Punch, which does nothing to my Florges, and yeah, the Conk is gone, which means my Excadrill is looking really nice with that sub-toxic set, and it can be really annoying. They go Alolan Muck here, which is like a good play because like it's especially bulky and Florges can't do much to it. I decided to go to Wishy Washy because I don't really want to, like, I wanted to keep my Kibia Berry intact as a lure for Mega Beedrill later in the game, and I didn't want to lose my leftovers on Excadrill just because of the sub-toxic set. So I decided to go Wishy Washy here, which is physically defensive and it should be able to take any hit from this. So I go here and they show the Focus Sponge, which is interesting tech to like get the Excadrill or Tyranitar on the switch. But this also means that if this is their coverage, I can, and if they keep trying to go for this on the switch, I can just keep clicking Moonblast and breaking their concentration and just stopping the Focus Punch, which is nice to know. But yeah, but this also meant I would never switch in my Excadrill on this because I don't want to get bopped by a Focus Punch. So yeah, I go into Wishy-Washy and the Focus Punch does like no damage and they take like 16%, which is good. Here, I just decided to click Skull. They didn't really have a switch in, like they could go Tapu Bulu, but they don't really appreciate the burn. And any chip on Rotom Fan is nice because that's like one less switch in for my Pidgeot's Hurricane. So Skull does 45%. I'm not really sure why Deoxys Speed was the switch to this. Like I don't think it would kill Wishy-Washy, and I could have easily gone for a U-turn, but whatever. I just stay in and click Skull one more time as they go for Psychic and get the drop, which was kind of unfortunate because I died to the next one. So I forced to switch out. I switch out just because I want to get more like Rocky Helmet chip if needed and keep it as a sack, because Florges should be able to check Deoxys. So I switch into Florges as they click Psychic and do like no damage. I go for my own Synthesis as they go for Recover, showing that they're not choiced, which is nice. This also shows that they can't really touch Florges, or like they didn't have Taunt, which was nice. Here I can just click Moonblast as they go Beedrill, which is fine. Here, since I'm at full health, I know I don't die to this, and they're probably gonna click Knock or like U-turn. So I just want to stay in and like I don't want to switch and give them momentum. And I expected like a Knock here, like an aggressive Knock. So I just click Psychic, and they go for Knock, which is fine, as it does no damage as I resist it, and I can Psychic and kill this thing. I think their best play was just to U-turn and go into Muck, which kind of checked this, but I was fine with that because I could, again, go Wishy-Washy, get the sack, and then go into Excadrill after, and start the sub, and start subbing up again, which was nice. But yeah, getting rid of Mega Beedrill is really nice because now I don't have to worry about like taking a U-turn. They go Tapu Bulu now. This thing could easily be banded and like would kill my Florges, and I want to keep my Florges around for the Deoxys. So I decide to sack off my Wishy-Washy here, which is like kind of useless. As they show sub, which is kind of scary and interesting. Like this could be sub seed, so I have to be careful about that. But here I just click Ice Beam, but they kill me with Horn Leech, but take the Rocky Helmet chip, which is cool. Here I go Pidgeot. I like seeing a sub, that meant like they were probably had a lot of speed, and they probably also had a lot of bulk, so they probably wouldn't be able to kill, like this was not banded, so it was not going to kill me with Stone Edge, and I knew I would be faster, so I would be able to stall out the Stone Edges with Roost. So I decided to just go Pidgeot and click Hurricane, because like the only switch in was Rotom Fan, which was fine. Here I expect them to switch. They showed Play Rough and did like 45, so this meant that means they didn't have Stone Edge, which meant like my Pidgeot could actually check the Tapu Bulu. So I decided to keep it healthy and click Roost here, expecting them to switch, as they do switch into Rotom Fan. Now I know this is not Scarf, so I can freely click U-turn here. I thought about going into Excadrill, but I didn't want to risk a potential Wisp, like an aggressive Wisp, while Florges was around to keep it like which like wall this. I could have gone Laddie, but that also let in Muck, and like I wanted to keep my Laddie for a late game sweep with like when I have enough chip with just the Scarf set. So I just decided to go Florges as he Volt Switched. The only thing he can really go into is like Bulu, but if he goes Bulu, the Grassy Terrain would run out, and then it would not be as threatening. So his best play was to go Muck, which is what he goes into. Here, I just decided to click Moonblast to see what kind of Muck this was, like if this was a Berry or if this was a Salt Vest. He goes for Focus Punch again, expecting the Excadrill, I guess. So I get free 15% chip on it. I just decided to keep Moonblasting because like I don't really need Florges. I have a Scarf Laddie which beats Deoxys, so I just decided to keep Moonblasting as it keeps trying to catch my Excadrill on the switch, and I keep getting chip. Also, because I know it's a Southwest, I know this Muck has no recovery and there's like no wish passing, so the more I weaken this, the freer my Laddie is to win. So yeah, I keep going for the Moonblast. He doesn't go for the Focus Punch finally after 3 tries and goes for the Poison Jab. Gets the Poison, but doesn't really matter because I was just gonna sack off my Florges. I go for another Moonblast as they switch into Rotom. They did that to keep their Muck healthy for Latios, which is a fair play. But yeah, here again I can go Excadrill and sub pretty freely, which is like what I do. They go Deoxys, which is fine. So I expected Superpower or Focus Blast, and they go for Focus Blast. While I just click Drill Run to get like more damage on this thing, which is fine. Now here I can go into my Laddie because they've shown 3 attacks, and like that means they either are Nasty Plot or like Ice Beam. So if they're Ice Beam, like this is not super strong and it's not gonna do a lot of damage to Laddie. So I just go Laddie on either predicting a Focus Blast, but they just click Recover, which was fine. Here I clicked Ice Beam, which I thought covered like a Bulu coming in or a Rotom fan. But the Elon Muck comes in, but it was so weak that it didn't matter and we'll get 2-hit KO'd by Ice Beam anyway. I do get a crit, but it doesn't really matter because it would have done 16%. So 2 Ice Beams would have always killed this Muck. Yeah. So now our Laddie is free to like spam Psyshock later in the game or like Dragon Pulse. They go Bulu. I don't really like. I don't want to take the Play Rough from Bulu, so I switch into my Pidgeot, which is not 2-hit KO'd by Play Rough. Yeah. Here I can click Hurricane. The Rotom fan is so weak that 2 Hurricanes would kill it. Deoxys would also die to a Hurricane, so this was like a no drawback play. Click Hurricane, do not kill, but the Toxic kills it, which is nice. They go Deoxys again, which is fine. I just go hard into Laddie, expecting like an Ice Beam, so I could live it and then just Dragon Pulse it. I also didn't U-turn because I wanted to keep it healthy because I knew it was not 2-hit KO'd by Bulu. So I wanted to keep it above 50% so that I didn't lose to Bulu. I go Laddie as they show Nasty Plot, but that means they don't have coverage to hit my Laddie because it's Psychic Focus Blast. Yeah, and here I just click Dragon Pulse because they click Nasty Plot, so they're not gonna switch. And if they did go like Bulu, I could actually just go Excadrill, and because at this point it lost to like both the members. So yeah, I just click Dragon Pulse, and they stay in, and Nasty Plot again. Not sure why. Maybe they thought I would go for like Ice Beam or Mystical Fire or something, like, and they would not be 2-hit KO'd because like this is a bulky set, I guess. But yeah, I just clicked Dragon Pulse. I just clicked Dragon Pulse again. Like if they switch Bulu, it was fine. I was fine to like sack Excadrill to it. Yeah, they go Bulu again and set the terrain. I know they're gonna go for a sub because they know my Laddie is Scarf. So I just go Excadrill as they do decide to go for the sub. I go for Drill Run because I can't really do anything else. Which doesn't break sub, and they go for Horn Leech, which is fine. Another one would kill me, but my play was still to go for Drill Run and like go for the fact that they wouldn't sub again, and they don't. Like that was a misplay. They should have gone for a sub to have the best chances of winning, but they go for Horn Leech, which is fine. And now I can just go Pidgeot and click Hurricane. Hurricane would mean like they can't sub, so even if they kill this, my Scarf Laddie would beat it, so I would always win the game. I click Hurricane and I get a Confusion, and they hit themselves in the Confusion and die, which means we win the game 2-0. The Confusion didn't really matter, as I said, like even if they killed a Pidgeot, I could just go into my Scarf Laddie and kill it. So yeah, that's our week 4 battle. Pretty nice way to win like a matchup that was not really in our favor. Like we couldn't bring our most offensive threat in Sand, because of Rotom Fan and like grassy terrain in the Conch. We also didn't have like a lot of ways of beating the Alolan Mach, but I think we played around it pretty well. Like our only physical attacker was EXCADRILL, but we were able to beat the Mach. We were also able to get rid of the Conch really early, which was like a biggest threat, which we didn't switch into, which was really nice. This win puts us at 3-1 with a +2 differential and moves us to like 5th on the standings, I believe, which is really nice because we want to be as high as possible. As I said, we want to avoid the tightly contested like lower half of playoffs and try to be as high as possible. So yeah, this was a week 4, and I'll be back next week with our week 5 battle. Until then, see you and have a good day. Bye.